Jack Harper, Tom Cruise, is a drone technician who lives in a tower high above the cloud with his assigned partner Victoria/Vika in the year 2077. Andrea Riseborough. They are the last inhabitants on Earth after the Scavengers/Scavs, aliens that coveted Earth's riches, destroyed it. The Scavs invaded after destroying Earth's moon for material resources, causing a sequence of natural calamities and global devastation. Humans were forced to employ nuclear weapons in the subsequent war. Humans ultimately won the conflict, but they lost the Earth by converting the majority of it into a radioactive wasteland. The remaining human population relocated to Titan. Task is to travel to the surface to repair the drones. These spherical flying robots are designed to find and kill any remaining scavs on Earth. Vika's task is to stay inside the tower as his coordinator, keeping a watch on him and communicating with Sally, Melissa Leo, the TET's mission commander, to achieve their mission goals. Jack works on drones in a gridded region that appears to be the ruins of New York/Manhattan. One day in the Super Bowl stadium, he repairs drone number 166 and tells Vika that he wishes he could have seen the 2017 game. He comes across a dog and manages to send it away before drone number 166 regains consciousness and kills it. He then goes on to retrieve another lost drone, this time inside the New York Public Library, but it turns out to be a scav trap. Fortunately, Jack is saved from this encounter by number 166, the drone from earlier. Jack comes across a book and decides to take it home with him. He recalls a verse within it about Horatius. Jack spends another night at the tower and has dinner with Vika. She is ecstatic that they are only 2 weeks away from completing their mission and will soon be on their journey to Titan to join the rest of humanity. Jack, on the other hand, is unsure. He doesn't want to leave just yet. He's been having flashbacks and dreams from before the war, but he knows they're not real because he was given a required memory wipe before beginning his job as the mop-up crew. Jack gives Vika some flowers he has been nurturing, but she throws them away by dropping them from the tower since it violates standards and they potentially contain thousands of toxins. Later, they go swimming, and during a kiss, Jack gets another memory about a woman. The two are awakened in the morning by a mushroom cloud explosion in the distance, caused by one of the water processing plants exploding. The following day, Jack returns to work and is tasked with investigating a beacon signal from the bombed-out Empire State Building. They realize that the signal is made up of coded coordinates. He cuts the cable, believing it to be the work of the scavs. He then informs Vika that he'll perform a perimeter check at the border where the radiation zone meets the safe area, but in reality, he's on his way to his secret residence by a lake, hidden away in a lovely green valley. He falls asleep on the grass and awakens to discover items falling from the sky. They crash down right on the transmission's coordinates. He flies over to investigate and discovers folks in Delta sleep pods dispersed around the wreck. Drones attack and destroy all of the pods. He realizes that one of the pods contains the woman from his flashback dreams and saves her by using himself as a shield. The drones are programmed to not terminate Jack. He returns the pod to the tower, where Vika manages to rouse the woman from her profound sleep. We learn her name is Julia, Olga Kurylenko, and Vika is displeased that she is staying with them. Against Jack's desires, Vika informs Sally of Julia's presence, and Sally begs that Jack transport Julia to the TET. Julia convinces Jack to accompany her to retrieve the data recorder from her crashed spaceship. She needs to know what occurred. He abducts her without Vika's knowledge. Jack discovers they are surrounded by scavs once they get it. Just before being knocked unconscious by a scav and carried to their lair, he sends the aircraft back on autopilot emergency return. When Jack awakens, he discovers that he has been kidnapped and is bound to a chair. The scavs admit that they are humans, not the extraterrestrial species who invaded Earth. They inform Jack that the real aliens are within the TET, and that the drones are designed to kill any remaining humans. Beach, Morgan Freeman, the commander of the scav/human resistance, approaches Jack for assistance. They have a stolen drone, 10 power cells from other drones they have brought down, and a weapons-grade plutonium power core from the crashed ship Julia was on. This has enabled them to convert the stolen drone into a nuclear weapon, which they aim to program to destroy the TET. They are hoping that Jack, as an experienced drone expert, can assist them in reprogramming the drone. He refuses, still believing that humans are on board the TET. Beach lets them go and informs Jack that if he seeks the truth, he will find it in the restricted radiation zone. They ride Jack's motorcycle until it runs out of gas, then hike to the Empire State Building, where Jack sends a signal to Vika. She dispatches the plane to pick them up. Julia reminds Jack of her true self on the balcony viewing area. They both came from the spacecraft Odyssey, and she was his genuine wife before his memory was destroyed. He remembers, and they embrace just as the plane arrives. Vika notices this. Jack and Julia return to the tower, where an irritated and resentful Vika informs Sally that she and Jack are no longer an effective partnership. A damaged drone Jack had placed for repairs on a lower floor of the tower triggers, terminating the unsuccessful maintenance team. Vika is incinerated, but just as it is about to kill Julia shoots it with the aircraft gun. Jack and Julia take off, but are shortly pursued by 3 more drones. They fly through a lightning storm and into a canyon in an attempt to destroy them. Jack destroys 2 of them, but the third, number 166, rams them and they fall into a sandy desert in the radiation zone. Jack realizes he is not cooking alive, as he had been led to believe would happen if he entered the radiation zone. He also hears a familiar distress beep from a broken drone just beyond the next sand dune. During his investigation, Jack notices another mechanic in a similar aircraft land to repair the drone, despite being assured there were none. When Jack confronts the technician, he discovers that he is a clone known as Jack Harper 52. They get into a fight, and Julia gets shot in the abdomen during the brawl. Jack takes 52's jet to 52's tower to get a med kit for Julia, and there he encounters another Vika. He is taken aback by the intricate unraveling of all he thought he knew, but he manages to fool this Vika into thinking he is her Jack. After rescuing Julia, they seek sanctuary in the lake home and re-establish contact. Jack resolves to assist the human resistance by returning to help program the drone. During this time, though, Sally has sent 3 more drones after Jack. Drones follow his DNA trail and attack all of the humans, leaving few survivors. Beach has died, and the seized drone is no longer operable. The fuel cells, however, are still intact, and they determine that the only way to take the bomb into the TET is to hide it in a Delta sleep pod with Julia, delivering her to the TET as Sally had ordered, to make a more effective team. With the Delta sleep pod, Jack flies to the TET. He listens to the data recorder found from the Odyssey on the way. As the Odyssey pilot approaches the TET in the 2017 First Contact, the day after the Super Bowl, Jack hears himself. Julia is one of the crew members in hibernation, while Vika is the co-pilot. The actual Sally, a NASA Capcom, was guiding them. To save the crew and Julia, Jack released the back shuttle with the Delta sleep pods, leaving only him and Vika on their way to the TET. Jack, Tech 49, who is currently at the TET, is allowed to enter. Sally, the alien species, is suspicious about Jack's motivations for visiting. It nearly kills him when physiological indicators of lying are discovered, but he fools it by telling it. And that this, being willing servants, nominally, but really referring to the TET's annihilation, is the only way to do so. He is given permission to go deeper inside to deliver Julia. He notices a slew of clones of himself and Vika sprouting in pods along the route. Jack activates the Delta sleep pod in the presence of the alien, who is revealed to be a gigantic floating pyramidal object with a red laser eye in the center. The wounded Beach, not Julia, is inside. When the alien realizes the deception, he summons drones to destroy them and pleads, "I created you, Jack, I am your god." But Jack and Beach detonate the fuel cells together. Julia awakens near the lake house. She weeps as she sits up in the sleeper pod and witnesses the TET explode spectacularly in the sky. Julia has given birth to a daughter and is now living in the lake house 3 years later. She and her daughter are then approached by members of the human resistance. The figure of Jack Harper 52 then emerges from the crowd. The film ends before we learn more about Jack 52 or what his relationship with Julia is or will become. Thank you very much for watching our recaps.